Hello everyone, this is Rebecca Jane from yogawithrebeccajane.com. Welcome to this yoga practice for worry and anxiety. We all experience worry and anxiety, those two go together. Worry has this way of kind of trickling in to us, to our bodies, and we're often blindsided by it. So what I have here are three exercises or three postures, yoga postures, for alleviating some anxiety and some worry. The key here is breathing, number one. I'll teach you a breathing exercise. And number two, using your body to release the anxiety. And what we're doing with the breathing and the postures are lowering the volume, turning the volume down of our nervous system, which is, for most of us, is on kind of high alert or maybe on alert. And what we need to do is learn to be aware of the fact that we're nervous and we're worrying and we're anxious through our physical symptoms. But also, how do we kind of take it down a notch, several notches? And I will show you how. So the first step is a breathing exercise it's a 5-count breathing. And then I'll give you a few yoga stretches. And stretches/postures to help you alleviate some of this worry and anxiety. Okay, we will get started. I'm sitting on a mat, on a cushion. You can sit on a chair and do the breathing on a chair. Or you can even do it on your back, either one. So sitting up tall, or if you're on your back, obviously lying down. And we're going to bring our attention to our tummies. Bringing your hand to your tummy and feel the breath. As you inhale, your belly is going to expand like a balloon. And as you exhale, the belly will be drawing itself in. So there's that inhaling expansion and exhaling the contraction. And we're going to just do a few breaths, just simple inhales through the nose and exhales through the mouth or the nose. Just to get acquainted with this rhythm, the natural rhythm of breathing in and the belly expands, and then breathing out, you pull it in. Let's do a few. So breathe in and breathe out. And one more time, inhale and then out. Okay. The next thing, so that's just giving you that's an introduction to a diaphragmatic breathing. Now we're going to do the 5-count breath. And what that is when you breathe, inhale and exhale through the nose for 5 counts, it brings you into the present moment, but it also helps you it takes your nervous system and turns off the stress response switch, which is the sympathetic nervous system, and turns on the relaxation response, which is the parasympathetic nervous system. So we'll do that. So I want you to exhale completely through the mouth, just let it out. The rest of this is, if you could do this through your nose, do it through your nose. So inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhaling, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhaling, 2, 3, 4, 5. One last time on your own. And just take a moment here and come back to your regular breathing. Just keep the breath moving in and out, in and out. Come back to that regular breathing. So what that you just did was, you might find that 5 counts is way, way too much. Cut it down. Start with 3 and 3. And then work your way over time up to 5. And then eventually maybe even higher, but ultimately 5. That means you are taking about 5, if you do the 5 count, you'll have taken breathed or 5 breaths in 1 minute. And that's about how the best way to calm your nervous system down. It's recommended you do this several times a day. You know, stop maybe every hour and take a minute and do this 5 count breath, especially if you're struggling with anxiety and worry. You're going through a really worrying, concerning time, or you also, some of us struggle with anxiety. It's an ongoing issue. So if you have an anxiety, an issue with anxiety, or you're an anxious person, you're going to do this, I would suggest, multiple times a day until finally your body starts, you breathe like that. That's more of a natural way of breathing. Okay, so we want to breathe less, in other words. So we're going to do a few little stretches. The first stretch, yoga stretch, is you could do this on your chair too. You can do this on the ground, on the chair. Obviously, if you're on your back, you would come back up. And we're going to do a gentle twist. So your legs, if you're sitting on a chair, your feet are on the ground, you're going to take your right hand on the outside of that left thigh, left hand behind your back. So on the seat of the chair or behind you on the mat. And that's take a breath in and then breathe out and twist. You don't have to have a yoga mat. You could do this on the carpet, on the ground. You can do this outside, on the grass, on the beach. So what we're doing here is you're gently stretching up through the crown of your head. You're going to inhale. And then as you exhale, there's a twisting from the belly. So you're going from the navel all the way up to the crown of your head and twisting. And you can stay here for about 5 breaths. We're going to stay just a little bit shorter. So you can always put me on pause and then come back. And then we're going to spin around to the other side. So left hand on the right thigh, right hand behind your back, as close to your sacrum, so as close to your lower back as possible. And then inhale, lift up so you feel yourself getting nice and tall. And then you're going to twist. Lower your right shoulder down. Twisting, what it does is it helps to kind of squeeze out like a wet dish rag. It takes the washcloth, let's say, and squeezes out the tension. It's a nice way to just release. It's also very good for your spinal health and digestive system. And then inhale back to center. So the next stretch, I'm sitting on something. You don't have to necessarily sit on anything. You might find, okay, I'm really tense in my legs are very tight. I can't really do any forward bends because the backs of my legs are very tight. You can always bend the knees, and you can do this on your chair and lean down and touch your feet or touch your shins. But I'm going to show you the version. I'll actually spin around. Just simple. Lower yourself down over your legs. This is called a forward fold in yoga. So you can put something underneath your knees. You can keep your knees bent and fold over, especially if you're very tight in the hamstrings. Or just fold over and come down without forcing there's no need to touch your feet. It's just letting the hands rest next to your shins. If you can, that's fine. And what we're doing here, if you have any back issues, you have a chronic back problem, or you have something going on in your lower back, just make it much smaller. Make it be more gentle when it comes to this forward bend. And you're turning on now the relaxation response, the parasympathetic nervous system, by folding forward. So this is a very gentle thing. And you can do this, hold this forward bend, and you can do this standing or sitting. Hold it for 5-10 breaths. Just relax into it. Now I'm going to show you one more exercise or posture, yogi posture. So this is a yogi this is called a yoga flow, which is we have the two postures we're flowing through are cat and cow. So if you know yoga, you'll be very familiar with this. If you're not, it will be new to you. Our cat stretch is where we round the spine. So we're in our all-four position with our wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, and you're going to round the spine and look back. And your tummy pulls up. And then as you inhale, the belly softens. Just let it hang down. And then lift your tailbone up and lift your heart forward so that opens up your chest. And you're going to go back and forth between these two postures and using the breath. So there's the inhale when you lift into your cow, which is lifting the chest, arching the lower back, looking forward, and then exhaling, looking back, chin tucks towards your chest, and you pull the belly button up towards the spine and push into the hands and the shins. And you can go back and forth 10 sets, 5, 10, and eventually you'll be able to incorporate the breath as well. So the inhale is when you're in your cow stretch, when you tilt your tailbone, and as you exhale, you pull the tummy muscles in. So that same familiar inhale, let the belly, expanding the belly, and then pulling the belly in, contracting, what we did earlier, sitting down. So little back and forth movements. What this does is it relaxes the nervous system. It provides, it's one of the best ways to create flexibility in your spine, strengthen your arms, and calm the nervous system, because it's simple. It's not that complicated. And then finally, the very last, which I didn't throw this one in, is the child's pose, the ultimate way to relax. So after you've done a few cats and cows, you've done a forward bend, you've done your breathing, you can come into your child's pose where your bottom's pressing towards your heels. Some of us cannot get our bottom so close to the heels, so you put a blanket or something underneath the thighs and the calves, and you rest here. And forehead can rest either on your hands or, if possible, on the ground. And you take about 10 breaths here. This will help you to take I always say this is how I take a moment. I take a moment just to be, and then I'll come back up. So these are I've given you actually 4 different yoga stretches and yoga postures to practice. Breathing, the 5-count breathing. I will guarantee, especially with the breathing, that if you're an anxious person or you're going through a really worrying, upsetting time, the breathing itself, on its own, if you do it not just once in a blue moon, once a week, but if you're constantly, every 3 times a day, minimum 3 times a day, set aside a minute and do those 5 breaths. Eventually what you're doing is you're turning down the volume of your nervous system, and it will become, you'll be less anxious. You'll have moments of not worrying, even if that worrying doesn't just go away because it's something quite big and it's something that you can't just forget. If you're ill and you have a worry about your illness or someone else's, not so easy to turn off, which I completely understand. But it will turn the volume down, give you some respite for periods of time. And that's what we need. We need to kind of take our nervous system and care for it in a loving way, as opposed to always pushing ourselves through things, when actually sometimes we need to just be with whatever's happening. So I will seal. I always end with sealing the practice, and I bring my hands in front of my heart. Thank you so much for being with me as we explore yoga for worry and anxiety. Thank you for being with me, and I hope to see you soon. Namaste, everyone.